Hey folks, welcome to After Our Screen Talk. I'm Jesse here with my bro Dan. And by the way, that picture right there is of our mom's dog. Our mom loved the Superman movie, gave it a five-star review, and loved it so much she wanted us to do a little graphic of her dog as Krypto. So there you go, Mom. Hope you enjoy it. So with that said, I'm going to hand it off to Dan here, who's going to lead this review. And this will be a non-spoiler review for the most part.
Yes, this is a non-spoiler review. We recommend that you go see the film. But having said that, the film takes place 30 years after Superman's arrival on Earth. At this point, as a 30-year-old, he is coming to his own. He's in his prime. He's embroiled in a fair amount of global political controversy because prior to the events of the film, he stopped a war between two fictional nations, or actually, rather, what he did was he stopped the invasion of one country by another country. Now, this film drops us right in the middle of it, right in the middle of the story. It doesn't really give us a whole lot of time to take a breath. Whether or not you think that works is entirely up to you as a viewer. But Superman has to deal with the fallout of stopping this aggressor nation, the political fallout, the emotional fallout in his personal life. But then he also has to deal with the fact that, of course, he's got his arch nemesis, Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult, who's doing everything he can to destroy the Man of Steel. But in addition to David Corenswet as Superman, we have Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. Other than the major players that I just mentioned, you've got probably the most memorable is Eddie Gathegi. He plays Mr. Terrific, and he's one of the Justice Gang, led by Guy Gardner, one of the manifestations of the Green Lantern. A member of that gang as well is Hawkgirl, played by Isabella Merced. The Justice Gang, a name that the film has a lot of fun with, by the way, definitely one of the major featured elements of this storyline, and for good reason. They're a lot of fun. What did you think about Gunn's treatment of the film, of specifically of the Superman mythology, and of course trying to keep it non-spoiler?
Sure. Well, right off the bat, you can see that he's very much channeling Richard Donner, Superman, the Christopher Reeve Superman, which started it all, and going back to the
Hmm.
roots in that way. This film very much felt to me like a comic book, episodic adventure, or like a Saturday morning cartoon episode of the week. And I love that kind of chaotic approach to it. You know, there's a lot of chaos, and you can see that as it as being very much overstuffed. But I thought the chaos and randomness of the sequence of events unfolding as intentional. It was like intentional chaos to kind of recreate that feel and that joy and feel of like being thrust into a comic book world.
I second a lot of that. Other than James Gunn's interview and some of the things he said and what he thinks the film is about, another point of controversy has to do with his treatment of a major aspect of Superman's origin story. Reeves' Superman goes to his fortress of suicide, his
Oh,
fortress of solitude,
that'd be a much
out
different
in
fortress. Yeah.
out in the out in the frozen waste. He sees a video of his late father who talks to him about his purpose there and why he's on Earth and what the significance of his presence there is and about humanity and hope for humanity. And that's a major part of Superman's origin story, this idea that he was sent here almost as kind of a, dare I say it, a Christ figure, with Jor-El, his dad, as kind of a God figure. The son coming to the world, acting as one of us, being one of us, but also greater than us, more powerful than us. But in spite of all that power, using it for good. A major, major part of Superman's mythology. That mythology gets a serious twist in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a smart choice for one not to make this an origin story. The original title for this movie was Superman Legacy, so his origin was always going to be wrapped up into his character arc here. I think for the most part, Gunn stays true to the character and wants to kind of honor his comic book roots and take some creative risks within it. But, you know, for the most part, I think it's a pretty safe, portrayal of Superman.
Yeah, David Corenswet is my favorite other than Reeve, in terms of the movies. Shout out to Dean Cain. I'm going to be controversial here and say that prior to this film, Dean Cain was my second favorite Superman. I loved the Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman show back in the day. So that's a sentimental favorite of mine. But David Corenswet, I think, is great as Superman. What did you think, Jess?
Oh yeah, yeah, he was perfect. Great casting, looked the part, and brought a real humanity and heart to it. And definitely, he's a much more vulnerable Superman. I mean, that's been observed in by other critics, that this is a much more vulnerable human portrayal of Superman. He's losing a lot. He's not overpowered, superpowered. He's just kind of one
Mhm.
of many metahumans.
He plays the character, I think, without a shred of irony, which I think is a
Yeah,
really smart move. He plays it very much the way Reeve played the character,
yeah,
originally.
yeah,
Which, I mean, if you're going to do Superman well, then irony has to be deployed in these films very carefully.
yeah,
But wherever it is, I don't think it can be in the performance itself. The person playing Superman has to be completely guileless and sincere and starry-eyed and just completely buy into the altruistic naivety of this character.
yeah.
And I think that Corenswet just captures that really well. I think he's excellent in this film.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the one thing I'll just add that I was thinking of actually right now is that he's not overpowered, but I think one element to that is that this is a Superman who's not trying to kill anyone. There's a hilarious moment where he saves a squirrel, right? So
Yeah.
even when he's fighting, he's trying to keep everyone around him safe and alive. Even his enemies, he doesn't want to kill. So I mean, if he actually was bloodthirsty and crossed that line, you know, like it would be a different story, this movie. So
Well, that wouldn't be Superman. I
that
mean,
wouldn't be
there
Superman.
have there have been storylines in the Superman comic books that cover that ground, right? Explore those darker aspects of the character, but that's not the canonical character, right? I mean, the
Yeah,
canonical character is that, you know, altruistic spirit who has all the power in the world that you can possibly have, and yet restrains himself and tries as much as possible to only use it for good.
yeah,
That's the Superman that's the dominant facet of that character at any given moment.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so other than Corenswet, who does great work in this film, what did you think of Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane?
I loved her too. Great Lois
Mm.
Lane. Like they have a nice banter. Really felt like a reporter as well, like a serious journalist.
I think she's great as well. I think the treatment of the character in the script is really smart. It brings the character into a contemporary space without feeling forced. That feels very organic. And Brosnahan, I think, nails that treatment, nails that interpretation of the character. So I also think she does really well. Other than those two, of course, we have to talk about Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Um, and he's of the ones that I have any kind of memory for, he's my favorite Luthor. Shout outs to Gene Hackman. I mean, Gene, he doesn't get any better than Gene Hackman, uh, but that character, Hackman's portrayal is not as true to the comic book character as this one is, or at least doesn't feel the same way to me.
Yeah, Hull was great. I love the casting because they look like the characters from the comic book. I mean, he looks like Lex Luthor from the comics.
Yeah, I think that Holt sinks his teeth into the character, and this is a comment on his performance, but also on the script. Um, I love to hate him, right? I mean, I was kind of like, as the film went on, I was like, I really hate this SOB. I just want him to get his comeuppance so
Oh
badly.
yeah, yeah,
And I was, and that was very satisfying, right? When you have a villain that you love to hate, right?
yeah,
So I think that was really great. Um, Great comic relief from several sources in this film. I have to give a shout out to one of the most consistently funny character actors in these kinds of genre parts, and that's Nathan Fillion, who plays Guy Gardner
yeah,
as one version of the Green Lanterns. And he's funny in every scene in this film that he's in. If you know Nathan Fillion and you appreciate his work elsewhere, then you know what to expect from him. He's kind of a rascal. He plays any given part to the hilt. He is dripping with irony and wit and wryness. He's just a joy to watch.
Yeah, with a tender core though, that makes
Yeah,
a
he's a
difference.
good guy,
He's
right?
a good
Again, in
guy.
keeping with the Superman verse, right? The Superman universe. All the good characters are really good. They're not anti-heroes fundamentally. Um, Eddie Cathegi is great as Mr. Terrific, a very stoic, silent character. It was really interesting because at first I was like, I don't feel any connection to this guy because he's such an android, right? But then as the film goes on, Cathegi's performance is very subtle. He's very able to kind of bring layers to the character and develop the emotional subtleties, the emotional layers of that character. And you kind of feel like you know where that character is coming from by the end of the film. And he's not even in the main character.
Yeah,
Huge shout out to Anthony Carrigan, who plays a metahuman called Metamorpho. Anthony Carrigan, if you know him, he's a great character actor, similar to Nathan Fillion. He just owns, anytime he walks in front of a camera, he owns the scene.
yeah,
Um, and I can't say enough about the work that he does in this movie. Again, it's a supporting role, but it's a featured role. It's really crucial, really important role for the film. And yeah, just fantastic.
the robots at the Fortress of Solitude, Superman
Yeah.
robots. The voice of one of those robots is done by the actor, another actor from Firefly who played the captain. What was his name?
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He voices one of the robots. So, and then you have Nathan Fillion also from that Joss Whedon show Firefly. So it was kind
Oh,
of a little bit of a Firefly reunion there. So
Firefly connections. I
yeah,
love
yeah,
Firefly
yeah,
connections.
yeah,
Yeah. Other than Firefly, he does a ton of character work.
yeah.
So that's great to have him there. Entertaining CGI turn from Krypton the dog. That's one of the
Crypto.
Krypto the dog. One of the wackier, goofier elements of the film, but an element I think that really works is his presence in the film. So of course it's not a performance per se, but certainly a featured character and an entertaining one.
Yeah,
I think it really works.
yeah, yeah.
Now, I think we do have to talk about the controversy attaching to the film, though. So this segues us into what I consider to be a completely fabricated controversy. I don't take it seriously at all.
Hmm.
James Gunn gave an interview about the film as part of the promo. I mean, he was giving a lot of interviews, and he said that this film, this was about Superman. The film was about America, but specifically this idea that Superman is an immigrant and that the film was about kindness, and that's what Superman stands for is kindness. I don't know if, so you would think, that's uncontroversial enough by itself, you would think, I mean, Superman doesn't come from this country. He doesn't even come from this planet. So, yeah, in a sense, he's definitely an alien, right? Um, and then on the other hand, why would it be controversial to say that he's for kindness, right? Why would that be so controversial? It's maybe a commentary on our out of control culture wars that it is controversial. But he basically said that anyone who thinks that kindness is bad or that it's bad that Superman's an immigrant, that they can just F off, right? So he became very polemical, and but that invited controversy, and then the social media trolls and the trolls on the media pages, the 24-hour news cycle got on, and we get all these editorials and all these articles. Superman's woke, right? It was predictable what happened after it, and people were talking about how it was going to hurt the box office returns, and that does not seem to have been the case. But anyway, I mean, is Superman woke, Jess? What do you think?
Well, it's a term that's been overplayed, overused. I wouldn't mind if it just becomes obsolete. We stop using it. Honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care. It didn't really affect my experience of the movie. Gunn didn't really say anything too outrageous. And why is this a controversy? Why do we have to walk on eggshells all the time? Can we just voice an opinion, have a difference of opinion, and be okay with that, and not
Well,
be.
and of course, unfortunately, the answer to that question is no. And that's one of the big problems right now. We can't have a difference of opinion, right? There's got to be a winner and a loser. There can't be any shades of gray. And it's sort of like, can we not just have some common experiences where we're not always at each other's throats?
I think a lot of the controversy or reaction to gun statements too, it's probably coming more from the fan base, the fanboys, who either are with Gunn or against him. But I think for the general audience, they're probably not paying attention. Maybe they are, but I think for the general audience, they're probably not. They're just gonna go see the movie or not, and treat it as kind of a little bit of escapism, and hopefully enjoy
Well,
it. Hopefully have a good experience. So
and I think that's part of the problem with his comments, though. It's like somebody who maybe doesn't fit any kind of political stereotype would read those comments and think, "Oh, well, this isn't going to be escapism. This is a film that's just another entry in the ongoing culture wars, right?" And I might legitimately miss it for that reason because like maybe I want to spend my Friday night or my Saturday afternoon or whatever going to see a 2 hour movie that's just going to be big, breezy, action-packed fun.
yeah,
Um, and it's
yeah.
sort of like, and that's what the film gives you. It gives you ideas, it gives you substance, but it's also a lot of action-packed fun.
Overall, I was happy with Superman. It's not a flawless movie. To that point, like, was there anything, that really stood out to you in terms of like this is just not working for me?
The only thing that really didn't work for me in the film is that I found some scenes over-explained, overwritten a bit, especially involving the Lex Luthor character. I don't think that the writing is always stellar. I think it's for the most part quite good, but I think there are moments where Gunn falls into the trap of trying to spell things out a little too cleanly.
Yeah,
He's clearly a student of the mythology, a student of the comic books. I think he wanted to demonstrate that he gets Lex Luthor, right? And he gets the dynamic between Lex Luthor and Superman. And kind of some of the mistakes that Quentin Tarantino describes himself making when he wrote the first drafts of Inglourious Bastards. He'd done all this research and he wanted to like demonstrate it, like kind of celebrate all the research he'd done, but he realized he couldn't include most of it, otherwise the film wouldn't be good. Um, so yeah, he had to kind of make some hard decisions. For the most part, I think Gunn makes good decisions, but I do find the Luther character at points a little overwritten.
yeah.
So that would be my criticism.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. Yeah, there are some scenes where the dialogue, even for Superman, it's a little bit bombastic, hyperbolic, but it's a comic book movie.
Well, I think the film does remarkably well with all the moving parts that its 2 hour running length is well justified, and I don't think it overstays its welcome.
Yeah.
Well, how many stars would you give it?
You know, honestly, I just had a blast. It is just like it had something for everyone. It's something I think adults can enjoy, families can enjoy. It wasn't like the best, comic book movie ever. It's a very good one with a very, very good, refreshing take on Superman that goes back to his roots and also updates him for the modern world as well. David Corenswet is terrific. I can't wait to see more of him. So I'll give this, for my rating, I'll give it 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah.
Me too. 4 out of 5 feels right. Excellent film. It doesn't get 5 stars for me because of some of the overriding, but really mostly because honestly, superhero films are not my cup of tea. So for me to give 4 stars to any superhero film is a testament to how effective it is, how well done it is.
Yeah.
Um, I probably won't watch this film again, but I'm
Oh,
glad
okay.
I saw it.
Oh, wow.
I think it was 2 hours well spent. I think it's full of ideas, full of energy, great performances, lots of fun. Definitely
Okay.
one of the best comic book hero movies I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And kind of made me believe in comic book films again a little bit. I kind
Yeah.
of thought I was done with them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
4 stars for me
You were
for the
totally done
for the
with them.
reasons.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I was thinking when you were watching this, is this going to turn the corner for you? And it may be a little bit, but not completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, almost, right? No, I mean, I don't think I'm going to actively seek out superhero films. They seek me out, so I don't need to go looking for them. So this has been another After Hours Screen Talk. Go see the movie, make your own decisions about it. Don't let anyone steer you in any one direction, and
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
Yes, yes, and we'll see you next time. We have more reviews coming for you. More summer movie reviews. So look forward to those.